Welcome back. The most important part of any Bedwars game is the first rush. Losing the rush itself will obviously kill you, and if you're too slow, you will almost always lose in resources and you might even get double rushed. Fortunately, this video will cover everything from effective strategies to PvP tips that will likely wreck your opponents. If you want to go on win streaks in 2025, I'd recommend you full screen and watch until the end. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Before I tell you my simple strategy to win almost all of my first rushes, I am going to give you some PvP advice so you can take full advantage of what I tell you. First, we have basic mechanics. Most players already know about these, so I'll speed through them. Make sure you have high CPS to reduce knockback, good aim so that you can actually hit your opponents, and the ability to W tap and S tap when needed. Now for the fun stuff. Ground fights are very common in first rush positions. When fighting skilled opponents, you will usually need to win multiple fights in order to beat them. Here's my advice on how to multiply your success rate for ground fights. To start, momentum is absolutely crucial. If your opponent is running at you, the three best options are the triangle, the block stop, and the God method. If placed right, these can completely stop your opponent's momentum and lead to you getting easy hits and combos. If you have more momentum, try to use that momentum by strafing and going for mid-trades. If you are having a ground fight at your opponent's base, remember that you can gain an easy initiative by threatening your bed. This usually forces your opponent out of a good position, leading to many bed breaks. The opposite is true when your enemy is at your base, so be very vigilant when fighting there. The main goal of a bridge fight is to kill your opponent with enough health to win a fight at their base to secure their bed. This, of course, means that the optimal way to kill them is through the void. To do this, go for hit selects on the bridge and try to stay above your opponent for damage-taking possibilities. Other than that, bridge fights are mostly a battle of PvP practice and the mechanics mentioned earlier. Of course, if you have a stone sword and your opponent doesn't, you have an immediate advantage which can easily lead to winning the fight and the rush. What you can buy varies game by game, so you don't have that much to talk about, but always think if you can buy upgrades like chain armor or stone swords before mindlessly clicking on the fireball icon. Buckle up because I have a lot to talk about. I've spent hundreds of solo games trying to perfect this strategy, and I'm going to give all of my knowledge to you. Let's start at the very beginning of the game. Wait in the generator until you have 30 iron. Purchase endstone and 16 wool and construct this bed defense. Of course, try to place it as quickly as possible. If your opponent insta-rushes you, take your generator and buy PvP upgrades before rushing. If they rush too quick, they either won't have a pickaxe or won't have a stone sword, so make sure to capitalize on that. Also, if you take your generator, smart players won't be able to buy a pickaxe from it. If your opponent copies your strategy and makes an endstone defense, simply rush as usual. Make sure though to buy a golden apple because it makes it very easy to kill your opponent twice. If you are very confident about your PvP, consider taking the diamonds with you to save time. If your opponent takes really long, remember to be careful about fireballs. After that, it is simply a battle of PvP in game sense, but if you follow the strategy correctly, you should have an edge over your opponents. Doubles is a bit different compared to solos, so I'm going to make an individual section about it. Before I get into the strategy, I'm going to give you some quick tips that will improve your teamwork so doubles never feels like solos. First, rethink your pressure. If you have pressure on your opponents, your teammates should try to either collect resources or come with stuff to break their opponent's bed. Pressure that gives nothing in the end is useless, so avoid it. The other tip I have is coordination. Being in a call with your teammates is very helpful as you can improve your positioning greatly and you can actually work with each other. Now, onto the strategy. At the start of every doubles game, you should assign one teammate, who I'll call teammate 1, to rush, and the other teammate, who I'll call teammate 2, to defend. Teammate 1 should leave on 24 iron and buy a stone sword along with 48 blocks, and the goal is for them to get pressure. Teammate 2 should put down the same bed defense as I shown before, then take the gen and buy pickaxe, blocks, and a stone sword. After that, quickly meet up with your other teammate. As soon as you beat your rush, the teammate with the most health should go to mid, and the other teammate should get the diamonds back if possible. In this section, I will cover all of the if questions you might have. If you're wondering why I didn't talk about 3s and 4s, it's because there usually isn't a side rush, and also, most of the strategy in 3s and 4s is the same as solo and doubles. If your opponent fireball skips you first rush and you can't stop them, you can low-key blame it on luck. If this video does well, I will make a game clutching guide for situations like that. If you get double rushed, whether that's from being slow or unlucky, the best solution is usually to ditch your bed and pray that there are emeralds at mid. If you're fighting a cheater, try to trade hits in a box. Since that is usually not enough to kill them, simply ditch the bed and report them. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Please subscribe if you learned something. It helps me out a ton and it only takes you like 2 seconds, so that'd be great. Anyways, that's all I have to say. Here's Cinderblock. Goodbye.